Issue 2, capitalism tethered.
Both developed and developing nations will be represented. And together we will work to strengthen and modernize our nation's financial systems so we can help ensure that this crisis doesn't happen again.
An international finance summit. It's now on the world's agenda. The date is fixed. Not only within 2008, as French President Nicolas Sarkozy demanded, but only 11 days after our own presidential election, November the 15th. World leaders will then discuss how to reshape the architecture of the global economic system. President Sarkozy says that the Washington summit is needed to, quote-unquote, reform the capitalist system. British Prime Minister Gordon Brown has described the, quote-unquote, guiding principles to be addressed at the summit. They are transparency, sound banking, responsibility, integrity, and get this, global governance, unquote. He called for these principles to, quote-unquote, root out hidden lending around the world. Get this. To accomplish these goals, Brown said, quote, we need cross-border supervision of financial institutions.
Should Obama see to it that he's wired in but unnoticed?
He should not commit himself to any second Bretton Woods.
Informally meet with these leaders, but no official role.
Eleanor.
I agree.
Monica.
No.
I agree.
Plausible
One president at a
deniability.
time.
Definitely, he can do it without even showing his hand. Issue 3, world reacts to the Obama win.
This is a moment that will live in history as long as history books are written. I've talked to Senator Obama on many occasions, and I know that he is a true friend of Britain.
The world at large saluted President-elect Barack Obama this week. So did Russia. But the biggest part of the message was far from congratulatory. U.S. relations with Russia are at a post-Cold War low. Recently, Russia penetrated Georgia with its military. Since then, the U.S. and Russia have exchanged harsh words. In addition, the U.S. plans to install a missile defense system in Poland. And Poland shares a border with the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad. And that intention has provoked Russia. This week, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev threw down the gauntlet to the U.S. President-elect. Medvedev declared that U.S. missiles in Poland would be matched by Russian missiles in Kaliningrad. Quote, the Russian Iskander missile system will be deployed in the Kaliningrad region to neutralize, when necessary, the missile shield of the U.S. We are also planning to use the resources of the Russian naval fleet in Kaliningrad for these purposes, unquote.
Question, is this just the first in a series of foreign policy challenges that Joe Biden foretold? Let's try to redeem Joe. What do you think, Clarence?
Yeah, I think this is a test, but it's a minor test. This is like a pop quiz for Medvedev right now. He was speaking much more conciliatory fashion hours later, but right now he wants to try to present sort of a bit of saber rattling. This is the Russian style. You've always got to talk tough with him.
What do you think, Monica?
Well, I do think it'll probably be the first test that Obama's going to face. Might even happen during this transition period. But look, the second part of this Russian equation is, yeah, Medvedev said he was going to put missiles right up against the Polish border. Vladimir Putin is now saying that he'd like to have the presidency back. So he's willing to rewrite the Russian constitution in order to grab power. I mean, he's running things anyway. But I think it's going to be a serious challenge for Barack Obama. These are tests of a guy who has no foreign policy experience, and America's enemies know it, and they're going to try to flush out.
Yeah,
now, this is what the United...
I wouldn't lose any sleep over this one, because he said nothing new. He said this all, and he said it to President Bush. And I don't believe the Obama foreign policy apparatus is in favor of extending our missile shield. They think it's too expensive. They don't think it will work. So
no, this is what Obama will do. Obama will make it clear to the Polish government that they should have a referendum of the people. The referendum of the people will certainly shoot down, so to speak, the missiles that we are contemplating putting in Poland. That will diffuse the crisis, and it will go away. The time to deal with Russia is now. You agree with me?
I agree. You're exactly right, John. The Russians are reacting for our having gotten into their face, and now they're acting like Russians and getting into our face. And I think that's a great idea. Let the Poles and Czechs vote on the shield, and get rid of it. The shield is not worth losing a relationship. Frankly, we could establish a solid working relationship.
Okay, elsewhere.
Letters from around the world poured in to President-elect Obama. French President Nicolas Sarkozy. With the world in turmoil and doubt, the American people, faithful to the values that have always defined America's identity, have expressed with force their faith in progress and the future, unquote.
This is a very ungrateful question. I'm going to give it anyway. Have the French and the Europeans generally used America as a scapegoat for racism when in fact there is more racism in the average European country, whether it's Germany or Italy or Britain?
Exactly right. Exactly. Look, America has done more to deal with the problems of race than any first world country in history. Look at Japan, look at Russia, look at Britain, and then you look at the United States and see what we've done. We've got a lot to be proud of.
This is a time for some self-congratulation, but the European countries have more homogeneous populations than we have. We have a diversity that we are finally now
got 8 million Arabs.
And a German newspaper had a headline, "Obama resurrects American dream."
Is Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana, the answer of the Republican Party to Barack Obama? Pat?
He's in the hunt.
Eleanor?
He's part of the future if they have one.
Him versus Palin in 2012.
The answer is yes. Bye-bye.